On February 10th, 2024, French business mogul, investor, and art collector Bernard Arnault threw Elon Musk off the throne as he became the world's richest man with a net worth of $218 billion. But who is this man, and how did he make so much money? Even more, who's going to inherit all of that dough now that Arnault is considering retirement? To unpack all of these juicy details, we got to go back to the very beginning. March 5th, 1949, Roubaix, France. Jean-Léon Arnault, a French businessman and owner of the civil engineering company Savenel, and his wife Marie-Joseph Savenel welcomed a charming little boy into their family. They named him Bernard Jean Etienne Arnault. However, at the time, no one could have imagined this little boy would one day become the world's richest man. Growing up, Bernard was raised in a strict Catholic Auvergne style by his grandmother, who was a devout Catholic. He attended Maxence van der Meersch High School, after which he enrolled in the École Polytechnique, graduating with a degree in engineering in 1971. In case you're wondering how a guy with an engineering degree found himself owning some of the biggest luxury brands in the world, we'll get into that shortly. Before Arnault dipped his feet into the luxury market, he actually got his first major job in his father's company. In the same year, he graduated from the École Polytechnique. Arnault started working at Savenel, and it was his genius ideas that would eventually transform the company into a successful enterprise. Just 3 years after joining the company, Arnault convinced his father to shift the company's focus to real estate. Savenel got rid of its industrial construction division and was given a new name, Farinel. Talk about a proper facelift. After just 7 years in the company, Arnault ascended to the throne, becoming the president in 1978. He stayed in the position until 1985. The company went on to be considerably successful before the real estate assets were later sold out to a company named Compagnie Générale d'Eau, which is now known as Nexity. In 1984, Arnault got wind that the French government was planning to choose someone to take over the Bezos empire, the textile and retail conglomerate that owned a luxury company you might know as Christian Dior. Arnault wanted this job, and he wanted it so bad that he employed the help of a man named Antoine Bernheim, who was a senior partner of another company called Lazard Frères. With Bernheim's help, Arnault was able to acquire a luxury goods company known as Financière Agache. Being the CEO of a company like Financière Agache gave Arnault an edge in the bid for Bezos. Not surprisingly, Arnault won the bid, and after paying the ceremonial 1 franc, he became a proud owner of a company that owned big brands like Christian Dior, the department store Le Bon Marché, Conforama, and the nappy manufacturer Produce. But Arnault wasn't the sweet boss everyone expected. Within just 2 years of gaining control, Arnault laid off 9,000 workers, earning him the nickname the Terminator. But that's not where it ends. He also sold off all of the assets owned by the empire, keeping only Christian Dior and Le Bon Marché department stores. Now that he could focus on just running these two businesses, Arnault unleashed his genius once again. And by 1987, the company was profitable again, booking earnings of up to $112 million in a revenue stream of $1.9 billion. It was the comeback of the century, and it was all thanks to one man, Bernard Arnault, who saved the company from the abyss. With this huge win in the bag, Arnault set his sights on an even bigger goal. So in 1987, he partnered with Alain Chevier, the CEO of Moet and Hennessy, and Henry Rackmeyer, the president of Louis Vuitton, to form a company known as LVMH, or Moet Hennessy Louis Vuitton SE. LVMH was created under the premise that the conglomerate would be too large for a hostile takeover, but Arnault was wrong. Very wrong. Behind the scenes, Louis Vuitton president Henry Rackmeyer was silently buying LVMH stocks so he could form a blocking minority. Arnault quickly caught wind of the rumors, and from then on, a battle ensued between him and Rackmeyer. In July 1988, Arnault provided $1.6 billion to form a holding company with Guinness, which held 24% of LVMH's shares. Then, as the truth behind the rumors began to surface, Arnault intensified his efforts, shelling out $600 million more to buy 13.5% more of LVMH's stock. Then, again in January 1989, he spent yet another $500 million to gain control of 43.5% of LVMH's shares, as well as 35% of its voting rights. This way, Arnault reached the blocking minority, which would stop the LVMH group from ever being dismantled. After gaining absolute control, he turned on his partner turned arch-rival Rackmeyer, stripped him of his power, and expelled him from the board of directors. This way, no one could look him in the eye or sabotage his empire behind his back. He was also unanimously elected the chairman of the executive management board. After Arnault assumed leadership, the group experienced incredible growth, and their goals became more and more ambitious over over the years. As LVMH grew, it began acquiring even more companies. In July 1988, Arnault bought the luxury brand Celine, and in 1993 he acquired Berluti and Kinsey. In that same year, Arnault also acquired the French economic newspaper La Tribune. He was like Thanos, collecting companies like Infinity Stones. But he wasn't done yet. In 1994, he acquired the perfume giant Guerlain, then Loewe in 1996, and Marc Jacobs and Sephora followed in 1997. If we're going to make a list of all of the companies under the LVMH group, we're going to be here all day. The group is said to be in charge of about 60 subsidiaries, which manage 75 luxury companies, including Christian Dior, Fendi, Stella McCartney, Givenchy, and even Rihanna's Fenty. Practically 70 to 80% of the luxury brands you can think of. And while business has been booming for Arnault, the same can't be said for his home front. Over the years, his family has been constantly torn apart and patched back together by legal drama and corporate feuds. Arnault is the father of 4 sons: Antoine, Alexander, Frederic, and Jean, all of whom play their roles in running the family business. His first marriage was in 1973 when he walked down the aisle with Anne de Wavrin. It was a sweet union that resulted in the birth of Delphine and Antoine, but sadly, things turned sour between the couple, and by 1990, they were separated. But he found love again, and in 1991, Arnault walked down the aisle one last time with Helene Mercier, a Canadian concert pianist. It was with Mercier that Arnault would have his 3 sons, Alexander, Frederic, and Jean. Alexander is currently the executive vice president of Tiffany & Company, while Frederic functions as the CEO of TAG Heuer, a position he got at just the age of 25. Jean, on the other hand, is the director of watchmaking, marketing, and development at Louis Vuitton. Antoine is currently the vice chairman and former CEO of Dior, a seat currently held by his sister, Delphine Arnault. Every single one of them is a billionaire, with a lifestyle many people can only dream of. But when you've got a business worth $423 billion, finding the perfect heir to hand it all over to can be a problem. Over the years, Arnault's children have engaged in legal battle after legal battle, as each person tries to grab the biggest piece of the pie possible. We're talking about high-profile cases that sometimes implicated even their father. Particularly, there have been issues surrounding how the father seems to be changing his plans to favor the younger kids over the older ones. In early 2024, Arnault announced that his sons Alexander and Frederic would join their sister Delphine on the company's board, adding even more fuel to the unfolding family drama. Although the billionaire has never named which of his children would take over once he retires, the competition keeps getting hotter by the day, as the rest of the world enjoys watching the rich people drama. Recently, LVMH extended the age limits for the CEO from 75 to 80, which gives Arnault a bit more time before he would have to make a decision. As they all compete for the seat of power, though, there's just one question on everybody's mind. Will Arnault's children bring the same level of genius their father possessed into this high-stakes game? Will they be able to sustain the growth of the business long after the billionaire patriarch takes his exit? Only time will tell how the whole scene plays out.